Okay, my name is Salam Nasarat, and I'm a third-year accounting and finance student, and also I'm a VP of Education of St. Emirs Gava Club. And I'm truly honored to be chairing this session today with you. So I'm just going to invite our first researcher. So our first researcher's topic is assessment of practices and challenges of human resource planning in the case of Ethiopia Construction Works of Corporation. So the researcher is Burhan Asnaki. Sorry. Please, let's welcome him to the stage.
My name is Burhan Asnaga. I'm a recent graduate from St. Mary's University from Department of Management. I graduated this year on February. So it's written here. My title is Assessment of Practice and Challenge of Human Resource Planning in the case of Ethiopian Construction Works Corporation. So when we came to the introduction part, the human resource planning is the process that identify the current and the future human resource need of an organization, which is when we came into the concept of human resource planning, it's about planning the current and the future human resource that are needed in the organization. It's about filling up that what the organization wants and the skilled human power that's needed. So it helps organize for talent management and strategic alignment. So the main point of matching is what the organization needed, what type of skilled power, human power is needed, and the skilled power, the ability, and the skill. It's about filling the gap. So this study is mainly focused on Ethiopian Construction Works Corporation human resource planning practice and challenge mainly. So there is 2 points in this research about the practice, how the human resource planning is practiced, and what are the challenges. So effective human resource planning ensures it's about optimum utilization of human resource and minimize the skill gap. To improve the practice, the first point is improving the practice, right? Then it goes to the challenge, addressing the challenge and handling the challenge. The other one is understanding human resource planning challenge. It helps organization enhance the productivity and make it a better expectation about it, make a better productivity and make it more effective. So it's about the introduction part. When we come to the background of the study, human resource planning ensures the right person in the right position. It's about matching what the company needed, what's the gap, and going to find about the expected skill, about matching. Currently, I'm also working on human resource department as human resource officer, so I got more insight in this. So it's about filling the gap. What's the company, what the company wants, and what type of skill is going to be necessary in the company to fill the gap. It's about improving the practice and handling the challenge. So in developing nation, human resource planning can be implemented in different, the concept is the same, but in the context of going to be implementation. In developing nations, it uses strategic HRP. It's about the other resource and socio-economic challenges cannot be affected that much in developing nations. When we came to developing nations like Ethiopia, the main thing that I'd be concerned is facing resources. Basically, facing resources can be really affecting me at the socio-economic, the social and the economic challenge also hinders the human resource planning strategy in developing nations like Ethiopia. So Ethiopian Construction Works Corporation also plays the key role in Ethiopian infrastructure industry. So the human resource planning is a really pillar for one organization. It's like an asset for the organization, right? Human resource, if there is no human resource, one company cannot be function well. So the human resource is the pillar for each department of the organization. And if it's well, it can be productive and it can, the strategic objective can be achieved well. So effective human resource planning is needed for workforce alignment with the strategic goal. If the human resource planning process and the strategic goal of the organization cannot be aligned well, it cannot function well. So the productivity also going to be in question. So the human resource planning effectiveness have to be aligned with the strategic objective of the company. So the statement of the problem that I mentioned here, 6 statement of the problems are mentioned here. The first one is lack of accurate workforce data. So the main point that human resource department is needed in one company is it needs the workforce data have to be really accurate and relevant. So the lack of accurate workforce data is seen in the statement of the problem. The other one is poor coordination between HR and other departments. As I told you before, in my working, I have 3 months of work experience in HR. So the communication or the coordination of HR with other departments is really basic as I saw. So the coordination, if the HR is not coordinated, is not communication, is not well defined, and like direct communication with other departments, it's gone. The whole company might be questioned its performance. The other one is limited budget for HR initiatives, like for training and development and for other things. The budget should not be limited for HR initiatives, especially. Why? It needs modern technology based on improving its HR forecasting tools also. So limited budget for HR initiatives also here as a statement of the problem. The other one, challenges in attracting and retaining qualified employees. At this point, we see two things, which is attracting the employees, attracting new employees, and about retaining qualified employees, which are skilled in that company. So to attract another new employees, the company have to be it needs to be a good benefit in the compensation process to attract new employees. And based on retaining qualified employees, it needs to give training and development for the skilled employees which are they worked there for years. So there is a challenge in attracting and retaining qualified employees which are worked there a little bit time. So the other statement of the problem mentioned here is high employee turnover. So it's also can be complicated, with a challenge in retaining qualified employees. To retain qualified employees, the company might need the training and development season. So to decrease the turnover rate, it's also needed to have a training and development. If the workers didn't get the training and if they are not grown by training or development, why should they have to stay in that company? So they need training and development within some season of time. So high turnover rates also here as a statement of the problem. The other one is the resistance to change in HR initiatives, which is lack of communication. As a one course, as a management student, we learned also leadership and change management, right? So resistance to change as a leadership, also being respectful for changes, being adaptive for changes, also need to be, the HR as a whole have to be resistant to change, which is a problem as a lack of communication. And four research questions are mentioned here. The first one is, as the topic indicates, what are the current HRP practice, how it's practiced its HR plan. What are the other one also, what are the major challenges faced by ECWC in implementing effective HRP? The major challenges have to be mentioned. And how can ECWC improve its HRP practice to address the challenge and other organizational goal? So what practices have to improve? What pointers have to be mentioned to improve its practice? And the first question, how ECWC does access HR planning forecast during HR planning process, also include as a research question. So there are two objectives, the general and the specific objective. The general objective is assessing HRP practice and challenge in ECWC, and the specific objectives are for investigate the current HRP activity, have to be investigated, and identify the major challenges which are mentioned. And the third one, recommend improvement methods and examine HR forecasting methods, also mentioned as a specific objective. Based on the scope of my study, the first one is this study focused on assessing HR planning practice and challenge at ECWC only, as the paper title also indicates. It examines also HRP process during 2015 up to 2016. Ethiopian calendar period. This is the scope of the time period, and the research is limited to ECWC headquarters in Addis Ababa, which is located at Gurd Shola. I was also there in my internship season for 2 months. And the other scope of the study, the questionnaire is mainly focused on line managers, where the respondents for data collection for the questionnaire. I chose line managers for questionnaire respondents. Other HR functions are excluded to maintain a focused scope. It only focused on human resource planning. It doesn't going to be, the scope is not that much broad. It's focused on human resource planning only. So the research design and methodology, the research design is descriptive approach, which is by observing and measuring without manipulating variable. It asks what, where, and how it's going to be described, the research where. It doesn't ask why the questions, but it describes more. So my research design, I used the descriptive approach. Based on the population and the sampling, a total population of 128 line managers were there, but the sample size calculated by Yamana formula, which is sample size is equals to the total population over 1 plus the total population times level of precision square, which is calculated to 96.96, and it came with approximately 97 line managers. So this is my sample size. As a sampling technique, probability and non-probability sampling technique I use. So as a probability sampling technique, simple random sampling for equal chance of selection. From 128 line managers, 97 are selected, but within a probability sampling. When we came to the non-probability sampling, the purposive sampling selected for questionnaire based on specific criteria, which is the line managers. Why I chose line managers? Because they know how to operate the company, and as HR department, most of the departments have aligned well to, they know how the company performs as a whole. So the line managers are selected purposefully for questionnaire and for respondent for responses. So type of data, the primary and secondary data are included. As a primary data, I use the questionnaire data analysis by descriptive statistics, and as a secondary data, other website of the company, HR reports and the literature are included as a secondary data. Method of data collection are mixed, which is quantitative and qualitative. It can be seen in the main paper, the quantitative and the qualitative, which is numerical, and the numerical data is also included, so it's mixed. The limitation that hinder me in the researches, the first one is limited time. As you can see, the sample size are 97, so they are a little bit, a lot, so it was a little limitation for me because the time was really limited to access all of them, to collect the questionnaires and having their response. By that, the time frame really limited. And the other one, limited availability of key personnel. As it's mentioned, they are line managers, so their availability and their schedule was a little tight, so limited availability of key personnel is also as a challenge for me. Accuracy and completeness of data also. The data, some of data might not accurate and complete of data because mainly as it's also discussed in the fourth limitation, which is the respondents were socially desirably biased, which is they answer the question that their answer was not the right answers. Not all of them, but they give me the response that what should they have to respond, not the reality of the organization HR planning. So there is a social desirable bias. They believe the answer, they give me the answer, what they make them look, what should I have to say, but they do not tell the true opinion or experience of themselves on human resource planning. So this fourth limitations also expressed. So when we came into the conceptual framework, the human resource planning includes the determinations of business goal and the implementation of either recruitment, promotion, layoff. This is also included in the conceptual framework. The action plan in shortage condition, action plan in surplus condition, also forecasting of demand and supply of the organization. The company demand have to be matched with its supply. Forecasting tools also needed for this have to be matched. The forecasting have to be right, because if the gap that's not filled is not going to be filled, the company cannot be productive and use human resource planning productively. And also the scanning external environment also have to be needed for human resource planning, which is, it's not always, the challenge is not always in the inside. They have to be scanned, the outside environment and the external environment to hinder this. So the challenges based on this human resource planning are listed below as a conceptual framework, which are the external environment affect human resource planning well, madam. So technological change affects this HRAP also. To forecast human resource planning, forecasting modern technologies have to be used to make it more effective, and inheriting limitation of forecasting. This is also connected with needed of modern technologies, gathering information about law, libraries, and regulation. As an HR, there is a labor law regulation, so the work is done based on that. Lack of qualified HR professionals also, there is a lack. So this also as a challenge. Lack of coordination between HR professionals and other. There is a lack of professional, and also if there is a professional HR, qualified HR, there is also a lack of a coordination between one department of the HR and the other. This is also the one challenge. Based on key findings, there are 6 key findings that are from the paper, the questionnaires. The human resource practice, it exists, but it's lack of effectiveness. There is a lack of effectiveness. So based on the challenges, inadequate training and development, as it mentioned before, retaining the qualified employees. Based on retaining, the inadequate training and the development also have an effect. The other one, insufficient budget allocation based on giving a training and a compensation system. There's insufficient budget allocation, poor forecasting source, and the misalignment with the strategy also as a challenge. Succession planning, it's formalized, but it's not effective, so it's ineffective. Based on the recommendation that's given from the respondents, increase budget allocation, invest in advanced tools, and enhancing communication. HR planning updates, 55.56% of them say it's updates annually, 27.78 updates every year. This is their HR planning updates question from the questionnaire. Workforce forecasting, it needs improvement. So lastly, when we came into the recommendation that I gave in my paper, increasing HR budget, enhancing career development, boost employee engagement, and investing modern HR tools are major recommendations in this paper. As a conclusion, HRP at ECWC exists, but it requires significant improvement, and implementation recommendation will ensure HR alignment and addressing challenge with workforce effectively. And as a whole, addressing these issues is not going to be solve all of the problems, but it gives a more successful and fostering a more effective, efficient, and productive human resource planning as a whole. So here is my presentation, and thank you so much. I want to thank my university and my advisor too. Thank you so much.
So our next researcher is our next researcher topic is assessment financial performance in the case of Cooperative Bank of Oromia and Line International Bank. Mr. Barakat Brahani, please welcome to the stage.
Okay, thank you for the chance. My name is Barakat Brahani, and I would like to thank the St. Mary University Research and Management Office for this presentation, because this kind of presentation facilitates knowledge sharing program. So, and I'm a recent graduate of the Accounting in Finance. Today, I'm going to present you about the assessment of the financial performance in the case of Cooperative Bank of Oromia and Line International Bank. So today, for those of you who have an accounting and finance background, you will have some preliminary knowledge, and for those of you who have not have the accounting background, you'd have some takeaways. So our research is assessment of the financial performance in the case of Cooperative Bank of Oromia and Line International Bank. So this presentation will examine the financial performance of the Cooperative Bank of Oromia and Line International Bank using the trend analysis of ratio analysis in the CAMILS framework. So I'm going to give a short time briefing the CAMILS analysis and the ratio analysis is. So the CAMILS analysis is it's a comprehensive, or it's a measurement of the financial health of the financial institutions or the banking industry. It has 6 key areas or matrices. The first one is capital adequacy. The second one is asset quality. The third one is management efficiency. The fourth one is earning. And the fifth one is liquidity. And the last one is sensitivity to market risk. So within this presentation, I'm going to present about this CAMILS analysis. And the second one is the ratio analysis. A ratio analysis, as we all know, it's analyze a company's financial statement to evaluate its profitability, liquidity, solvency, and efficiency. This ratio analysis is preferred because we can take key items from different financial statements and compare. For example, I can take from balance sheet one item and from income statement one item and compare using the ratio analysis. So, what encouraged us to do this research is stated in the statement of problem. The proclamation number 1359 to 2024, when we was doing our research, was enacted by the National Bank of Ethiopia, which brings a liberalization in the Ethiopian banking industry, that foreign bankers were allowed to come and operate. And in recent 1 month ago, in the June, also another proclamation 1316 has been enacted and passed through the HPR, which states that those foreign bankers are allowed to open branches, subsidiaries, and buy shares of the existing bankers in the Ethiopian markets. So this evolving and liberalization has created an intense market, will create an intense market competition. So what are the bank industries, what banks' financial health when this bankers came to Ethiopia? So the study conducted specifically the Cooperative Bank of Oromia, COOP, and the Line International BIB as a representative of the medium and small bank segment respectively by benchmarking with the industry leader CBE. So we have investigated that previous studies only use a single approach, and we have created a dual approach using the ratio analysis and the Camils rating framework. So the research question will be, there are 4 research questions as you see. The first one is, what is the profitability and efficiency trends of those 2 selected banks during the studied period? And also, what are the key insights drawn from the liquidity and solvency trends of the Cooperative Bank of Oromia and the Line International Bank during the analysis period? And the third one is, how did the COOP, which is Cooperative Bank of Oromia and Line International Bank, compare to CBE in terms of Camils rating? The fourth one is, what were the strengths, weakness, and overall financial performance of the Cooperative Bank of Oromia and the Line International Bank based on the Camils rating or based on the Camils framework? So, the very objective of the study is to assess the financial performance health of the 2 selected banks. And the specific objective is stated in the research question. So I will jump the specific objective. So the significance of the study is to get a better understanding of the financial health of the medium and small-sized banks in Ethiopia, specifically the Cooperative Bank of Oromia and the Line International Bank. Further, it brings enhanced financial insight on the banking industry. Also, it will give a practical guidance for the bank management system, and also it will be used as a reference for further research in this field. So the scope of the study or the delimitation of the study is due to a time and resource constraint. The comparability of the study is conducted only on 2 banks, Cooperative Bank of Oromia and the International Bank, which the formation is since 2000. And the ratio analysis, alongside with the Camils rating system was used. The ratio analysis tells us the trend in the of the banks during the study period, and the Camils rating framework will give us the overall, the comprehensive financial health of those 2 banks. And the research design and the methodology, we have used a descriptive research design, where the descriptive research design is used to give a factual image of what has been seen on the trends and relationship and variation in the financial data, because many studies on this financial performance uses the descriptive research design. So we have used the descriptive research design. Then we have used also the quantitative and secondary data mainly to make this research. So the population sampling technique. According to the National Bank Ethiopia Financial Stability Report of 2024, there are 32 banks in the Ethiopia industry, including the policy banks, which is called Development Bank of Ethiopia. So we have used the purposive judgmental sampling technique because the Financial Stability Report of the National Bank of Ethiopia stated that there are 3 categories in the banking industry. The first one is larger, medium-sized and small-sized banks based on their asset and market sizes. So in the larger banks, there is only CBE found in this category, and in the medium and small size, there are so many banks. So to use this purposive and judgmental sampling, we have used 2 strict requirements. The first one is having at least 15 years in the operation, which is their formation is in the early 2000. The second one is we excluded policy banks in larger banks. Policy banks with the Developmental Bank of Ethiopia, and the larger banks with CBE. So applying this criteria, we are left only 2 with target sample of 12 banks. So we purposely select the Cooperative Bank of Oromia because of its unstudied profile. And we selected from small-sized banks, Line International Bank, because of its unstudied profile and its establishment similarity with that of the Cooperative Bank of Oromia. The data collection, we have used secondary data of 5 years audited financial statement. In addition, we have used industry reports, National Bank of Ethiopia assessments and financial stability reports to have an in-depth assessment of our research. In the data analysis, a descriptive technique used to interpret graphs, ratios, financial data using the ratio analysis and the Camils rating. So what is the limitation of the study? The limitation of the study is a lack of industry standard for ratio and Camils rating. During this, the making of this research, we have went to the National Bank of Ethiopia, and they doesn't have a clear-cut industry standards to compare using the ratio analysis and the Camils framework. So we innovatively take an approach of benchmarking with the industry leader CBE using the Camils rating. So the research gap that we are going to fill is, as we have mentioned, these 2 banks have a little bit less studied areas. So we focused on these banks to give a financial health when in the to assess their market readiness when the foreign banks came to Ethiopia. And we have used a dual approach. Previously, many studies used only the single approach, so we have used dual approach to confirm the result that we have on the ratio analysis confirms the Camil's rating. In the ratio analysis, there are 4 things that we have seen: the profitability ratio, the efficiency, liquidity, and solvency ratio. In the profitability ratio, as you see, the return on equity is measured by the net income or total equity of the banks. The COOP has showed a stable return on equity or profitability ratio than that of the Lion International Bank. This indicates that COOP has maintained a strong profitability compared to that of the Lion International Bank. When it goes to the efficiency ratio is the bank's ability to use its asset in maintaining higher profitability. Within this, we have used total revenue total expense ratio. In the total revenue total expense ratio, the COOP has a highly fluctuating total revenue total expense ratio, whereas the Lion International Bank has a steady declining but stable total revenue total expense ratio. So we can say, in terms of total revenue total expense ratio, the Lion International Bank has outperformed the Cooperative Bank of Oromia. When it comes to the liquidity analysis states that the bank's ability to change its assets readily into cashes or current assets. So in terms of liquidity, we have used the ratio of loan to deposit ratio, which measures the loan to deposit ratio. As you see, they have a highly increasing or an increasing loan to deposit ratio, indicating that both banks need careful liquidity management to maintain a financial health, because a risk and return trade-off is very much mandatory in the banking industry. When it comes to the solvency analysis, the debt to asset ratio, which is the total liability over total asset, how much of the total asset is financed through debt. So in this ratio, they both maintain above 85% of their asset is financed through debt. So we can say that they have higher solvency, making them more relied on loan to finance their assets. When it comes to the Camil's analysis, let me briefly explain what are these. The capital adequacy states that the capital adequacy is about the bank's ability to buffer or to resist capital losses and protect its depositors. When it comes to the asset quality, it is the quality of the asset in generating revenue. It's about its efficiency or efficiency ratio. So asset quality is about efficiency ratio. When it comes to management quality, it measures the management readiness in using its asset to generate revenue. When it comes to the earning is about profitability. When it comes to liquidity is the bank's ability to maintain or to have a capacity that have readily available cash or current assets to maintain liquidity is about availability of current asset to availability of cash. When it comes to sensitivity is measured by the foreign exchange interest rate risk management. So in the capital adequacy ratio, we have seen the capital adequacy ratio is measured by total capital or risk-weighted assets. The risk-weighted asset is we have get the risk-weighted asset in the note sections of in the note section of the company's financial statement. As you see in the capital asset in the capital adequacy ratio, the CBE has a higher capital adequacy ratio than that of the Lion International Bank in the Cooperative Bank of Oromia. When it comes to asset quality ratio, in the asset quality, we have measured it through the allowance for doubtful loan to loan outstanding in the market. Through this, we have seen that the Cooperative Bank of Oromia has a lower allowance for doubtful loan to loan outstanding, which indicates that a better asset quality than that of the market leader CBE. When it comes to the management efficiency, it's measured by total advance to total deposit. As you can see, Lion International Bank and Cooperative Bank of Oromia has a higher total asset to total deposit ratio, which indicates an aggressive lending strategy than that of the industry leader CBE. When it comes to earning, it's measured by the return on equity, which means net income to total equity. In terms of earnings, CBE demonstrated a higher earnings, which indicates a profitability of than that of those two banks. When it comes to the liquidity ratio, in the liquidity ratio, we have seen liquid asset to total asset ratio. Within this regard, the industry leader has a better liquid asset than that of the two studied banks. When it comes to sensitivity to market risk, the sensitivity to market risk is measured by the net interest margin, which is the net interest income over the average interest earning asset. So within this category, the Line International Bank and Cooperative Bank of Oromia has maintained a higher net interest margin compared to the industry leader. So the conclusion from this is, using the ratio analysis, we have seen that in terms of profitability, the COOP has demonstrated a higher profitability. When it comes to Line International Bank, it has a better efficiency, but it lacks or struggling profitability. When it comes to the Camels comparison, the CB outperformed in the capital adequacy, earning, and the liquidity. When it comes to the Lion International Bank and Cooperative Bank of Oromia, they have a better asset quality, management efficiency, and sensitivity to market risk. So the possible recommendation that I have for those two banks is, as you see, the foreign banks have a better technology and also monetary capacity as compared to the banks in Ethiopia. So a merger and acquisition is a better solution for those two banks, or for medium and small size banks, so as to resist the foreign markets' fancy capital ability. Thank you.
So our last researcher would be, the topic is assessment of strategic management practice in the case of born again mental health rehabilitation and Healing Charity Association, Addis Ababa, by Sophonias Girma. Please welcome him to the stage.
My name is Sophonias Girma. I am a recent graduate with management department from this prestigious educational institution. And before I start my presentation, I would like to acknowledge two special persons, my lecturers who push me and also who give an inspiration to conduct this research. The first one is Mr. Abata, my introduction to management lecturer. That's the person who puts the seed of management within my heart. Currently, I'm working with Minister of Planning Development and also different national and international organizations because of the seed that person planted in my heart. The second person is Mr. Dennis Audinamo, who taught me about strategic management. So I'm working in strategic management areas because of what I've learned in school was very much supportive. So my study is based on assessment of strategic management practice at Born Again Mental Health Rehabilitation and Healing Charity Association. Currently, I'm supporting as a fundraising director. So a quick brief about the organization and also the research and also study objectives. The organization is called Born Again Mental Health Rehabilitation and Healing Charity Association, as I've mentioned before. So founded in 2016 in Gregorian calendar, almost 10 years. So it's found here in Ethiopia, but work globally. There are Norwegian funders and also Denmark funders, Ethiopian funders from all across the world. They mainly work on rehabilitating, supporting people with mentally illness that will support to recover and rehabilitate. So they will support financially also. So once they after get healed and also rehabilitated, they will get back to their family. So they are doing marvelous things. The second thing is organization proudly serves over 400 beneficiaries so far within the past 9 years. So it has a big impact for this nation. But when I was there, I investigate there is a misalignment between strategic management practice. For instance, there are so many funders scattered all over the world, but they are not collected in a strategic manner. So one funder might come here, so they will donate, they will not come back again because of communication barrier and so on. So I conduct this study because what is the contemporary aspect of strategic management practice in that organization? So if there is a problem, we will try to fix that. If there is no problem, if it's strong foundation, I will take a lesson. That was my reason. So this study aims at comprehensively assessing this organization's strategic management practice and identify associated talents, as I've mentioned before. So the background, strategic management aligns vision with resource and goals. this organization need as much funds as possible to reach their vision, leaving no one at street because of mental illness. So they need a money, they need a fund. To pull this fund, they need a strategic foundational, strategic management. So they need to work on this area. So when we talk about strategic management, it's all about reaching and attaining our vision through a mission and also related scopes. The other one is vital for NGOs operating under resource constraints. It's usual nowadays. Ethiopian organizations, especially in the CSO and NGO areas, they are working because of their reputation, the manager's reputation, because of their network, not based on strategic foundation, not based on professional foundation. So we need to study this area. So our findings might be a good input for other organizations to conduct strategic planning, strategic management, and related aspects. The other one is key stages. When we talk about strategic management, as it's known, I shouldn't endorse, I couldn't talk about this right in front of you, but just to highlight, there is a strategic formulation phase and also implementation, and the last one, evaluation. So when these organizations create a strategic management, they just don't go over implementation or just go to evaluation where there is no formulation. So they should follow this hierarchy, starting from formulation phase up to evaluation. A strong follow-up on monitoring and evaluation. So these are the key study areas I have focused on. So a statement of the problem. During my study, I have also, my findings supported my problem initially I was observing. The first one was limited awareness. This is caused by poor staff awareness of strategic goals, hinders unified direction and effort. If the non-management staffs run there and management staffs run over there, they couldn't reach their vision. It needs a unified direction. So this is the main problem I have investigated. And the other one is restricted involvement. This is caused by most of the direction were from top to down bottom, top to bottom direction. So the non-management staffs were not aware why this is formulated, why this is implemented. Rather, they were aware how to do that and when to do that, and also they are supposed to do these things. So this is another problem. The last problem, but not the least, of course, operational challenge. This might include resource limitation, impact execution. For instance, one of these things might come to a skill gap. So this is hindering their growth, their journey to their vision. And also policy shift creates instability. The management's shift simultaneously will cause the organization to stay unstable. And the last thing is communication gap. The top level management is not working on awareness creation. They are not using management by objective, which is the backbone of sustainable strategic practice for every organization. So these are the key areas. So I have organized these 4 questions, research questions. The first one is, what are the key process of strategic management practice followed by this organization, if there is? The other point is, what are the perception and attitude of staff? Because while we talk about strategic management, it's not all about formulation. Top-level management might involve in formulation and evaluation, but non-management staff should involve in implementation. So their perception, their attitude should be considered. So I have raised this question: what's their perception and insights? The other question were, what strategies or interventions can be implemented to improve the acceptance, understanding, and effective implementation of a strategic management process among the staffs at this organization? The last one, what are the major forces affecting strategic management practice at this organization? Because there are internal factors, but also there might be external factors outside their control. So I want to know these problems, not only taking its all responsibility for the management staffs or for the non-managerial staffs, but there might be also other problems. For instance, including the management staffs might not be educated about strategic management. If they are not educated about it, how should we talk about strategic management with them? So these things were key questions for me. So research objectives, the general objective is to assess, to study and assess strategic management practice at this organization, born again mental healing organization, which followed by specific objectives. The first one is identifying key process. What are the pain points that core strategic process in place? What processes they are following in this organization? We need to identify this area. The second specific objective were understand staff attitude. As I have mentioned before, their attitude and perception matters in terms of management by objective and related issues also. So gauge staff attitudes toward strategic initiative. This is a main area we would like to address by studying their understanding and attitude. The other point is recommended improvements. What are the proposed actionable recommendations for enhancement in their strategic management practice? The last specific objective were assess influencing factors, as I have mentioned before in my research question. What are the key factors that are affecting this strategic management in this organization? And analyzing external, it might be internal factors impacting the strategy of the organization. So I have used overall population, which are 24 staff of this organization. 8 are managerial staffs. Okay, thank you. 8 managerial staffs and 16 non-managerial staffs. So during my study, I have applied a research design called a descriptive research because we would like to investigate, discuss, and explore in detail in a descriptive manner. So I have used a descriptive research design. The study was used 24 target population overall. A data collection tool used a questionnaire and relevant data from meeting minutes and the memorandum of establishment were taken as a secondary data. The other one is data analysis, descriptive statistics were utilized during this study. So what are the key findings I have got in this study is only 25% of all the staff are fully aware of a strategic goal. This is a pain point for this organization because 25% of staffs are aware of this strategic management practice means the organization is hindering from reaching their vision because of lack of awareness about the strategic practice. So indicating a significant knowledge gap and also suggest the need for clearing communication and greater transparency among the top level management. The other one is substantial of 50% of non-management staff are not involved in strategic planning, which is in a formulation process, which is caused like it have top-down strategic activity, which affects the organizations again from reaching their vision. The other point, staff perception of communication. 75% of management staff report inadequate communication. As the first finding indicates, there is a lack of communication because of the management comes from the top part to the bottom, without management by objective setting goals, without setting goals and visions with a common ground, and over 87.5% of non-management staffs perceive strategies are not well communicated and leading to feelings of being undervaluated and impacting overall morale. As you all know, human resource should be carefully treated within one organization if we would like to reach our goal, our vision, our targeted milestone. So this is affecting the organizations from reaching their vision. The other challenges in strategic management were 100% resource constraint. For instance, there were lack of a website and digital presence. Now, as I have mentioned before, I'm a digital fundraising director there, so we are, based on this research, we are developing a website that can have a donation and sponsorship from all over the world, that can take funds from all over the world with a one gateway. So this is solved, but in that time there was a resource constraint, and almost 87.5% were communication gap with the non-management staff, with the managerial staff, particularly executive staff and board members. The other 75% of problem were resistance to change. As we know, change by default, it's a bit challenging thing. Our leadership lecture used to say, like, sorry for saying this in Amharic word, loud, if we cannot manage it, it's no. Load can be not if we cannot manage it. So most of the staff were resisting the change because they assume it's kind of challenge. The other problem was skill gap. This area is I would like to more emphasize because knowledge is it's all about knowledge for one organization, especially for the management. So there was a skill gap. Conclusion: strategic practice exists but poorly implemented in this organization. Top-down approach reduce ownership. The non-management staffs did not belong to the strategic created, the vision created, because they were not aware and they were not part of the formulation process. Urgent need for inclusive, transparent management practice. Those were a key conclusion from this study. What does it imply? If it remains unresolved, but as I've mentioned, it's getting resolved, but if it were remaining unresolved, inefficiency and disengagement might cause in that organization, even it might cause high turnover rate. Because if the employees do not feel belongingness, they will not stay there. The other one is with improvements, alignments, sustainability, and better activity could be promoted. The last point is recommendation. Regular strategy updates and workshops should be conducted. As a student researcher, I recommend these key 5 points. Regular strategy updates and workshops should be conducted. And the second thing, inclusive planning process should be implemented. Management by objective should be professionally implemented. The third point is comprehensive resource mobilization strategy should be activated, because resources could be mobilized, but if it's not mobilized with a strategic intention, with a professional manner, they could be exposed for waste, not efficient utilization, so which caused unproductive activity. Leadership and communication should be trained. Leaders should be trained about communication. And the last one is policy should be reviewed and should be followed, standardization and professionalism. Thank you very much.
My name is Tarek. I just take this mic for the sake of comments and questions and suggestions for the first presenter. All of you, first for all, thank you for your presentation. It's a nice presentation. For me, today is a great day for me because before one week, there is another conference. Yeah, for me it is a better conference today. Yeah, for first presenter, I have two questions. Yeah, the first is, gap is not clearly specified for Brahana. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the orientation to the advisor is not correct. Yeah, because gap, maybe is it a theoretical gap? Is it an evidence gap? Is it a contextual gap? So you contextualize your challenges to these gaps, yeah? Maybe the one point is that one. So what's your gap? Still, your gap is not identified, yeah? The next is, your target population is 128, yeah? Why you are not using census? Why you are just take sampling technique? Yeah, because the sample is short. So why you just take sampling technique? This is the second question. When we come to Barakat, maybe for Barakat, why did you select lion with Masabak? Yeah? Maybe it is already the dead bank, yeah? Why you are not using the other, like Abai, Oromia International Bank, Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, Awash Bank, the other banks, yeah, where you are just using the least bank. If you are just comparing the Lion Bank, why are not using Commercial Bank of Ethiopia for the sake of comparison? You are just using the small and medium banks, yeah? If you are just take the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, your research is full, yeah? Because it's the huge bank, the greatest bank in Ethiopia, yeah? So this is the second question. So this one. When we come to Sophonius, I don't know why you are not explaining your methodology. Yeah, this is how you are just working your paper. We don't know because you are not explaining your methodology. Yeah, so if you are just explaining your methodology, we are just seeing your way, yeah, your way forward to the result, yeah. But now you explain chapter 1. After that, you go to chapter 4, yeah. So how we can give you the comments, suggestion, and the question. So this is the main things regarding the three presentations, yeah?
Performance of these financial institutions, there are different models. I don't know how far you go into them in detail. It's not only CAMEL, like the 5 C's criteria, the compare criteria, and others. Maybe these two banks that you consider have been performed better by the models that you considered earlier. What if you evaluate these banks by using another criteria, like compare or the 5 C's criteria? So I suggest if you consider these banks or evaluate these banks based on other frameworks as well, your model shows one part of the evaluative criteria. Similar question is on the strategic management practice of a certain charity organization. I think you have seen some criteria based on which the practice of the charity organization is successful or not. But do you think that practice can be a lesson for others? What lessons can you draw from these organizations that you have selected? And do you believe that the evaluative criteria to consider the said organization has a good strategic management practice or not? Because unless we develop an exhaustive criteria or checklist based on the criteria that we have developed, which is not as such exhaustive, we may mislead others. Thus, don't we have another exhaustive criteria to develop the best strategic management for any organization? Thank you.
The first question is the gap is not identified, I think. So as a gap, I think your question is as the gap is not identified. The first question, right? So I'm trying to answer this question. The challenges are the gap, which made the gap is the challenges which are mentioned, like the lack of effective professionals, not being the strategic, the human resource planning, and the company's strategic objective is not much. That the challenge, and that made the gap. The challenge made the gap. In other words, which is the challenges that are listed in my research are that makes the gap also, which is not being aligned, being not effective, based on the lack of accurate and reliable information about the workforce data, and also the listed challenges also came with the gap. So the challenge made up the gaps. So they are goes together, which is the challenges made up the gaps. That's my answer for the first question. And the second one is why I should not use the census, which is my total population is 128 line managers. So I chose by Yamana's formula 96
9.96 with approximately 97 line managers. So I used that based on time perspective and effort perspective. As I mentioned in my limitation, there is a time framework. My time was really limited based on the study that the research have to be done, the time perspective, and based on effort too. Also, the availability of line managers and their schedule was not that much comfortable to get them and making a questionnaire for them as respondents. They were really challenging to make their schedules, and their availability was also challenging. Not 128, the 97s also were challenging for me, even taking all of them. So based on time limitation and based on saving my efforts and making it compromise at 128 into 97 based on time perspective and effort, I chose to the sample size to make it 128 into 97 or approximately. So I think I answered your question.
Okay, I'll go to Tarek questions. Why do you choose the Line International Bank? Our research purposely selected those two banks because of the unstudied background. Many banks in the medium-sized banks, Awash banks, Abyssinia Bank, Dashan Bank are well studied. And our one research gap was to fill the gap, to study the unstudied part. So we choose Cooperative Bank of Oromia, and the Line International Bank purposely selected because of its similarity in time. The formation is somehow similar with the Cooperative Bank of Oromia. So we purposely selected Line International Bank for this reason. The second question is from Makonnen. From the Camels rating system, which one is very challenging? The first question is. So I think sensitivity to market risk is very challenging because we have got the net interest margin ratio from the note section of the banks. Because calculating this will be very much difficult based on our knowledge. Because the calculation takes the average interest earning asset, which means from the total assets of the banks, which assets are interest earning. As you know, all assets are not interest earning assets. So identifying those assets will be difficult for us. But in the meantime, we have identified in the note sections of the banks the net interest margin. So sensitivity to market risk is more of a market risk, so it is challenging. The second one is Camels rating contradiction. I think we have used both dual approach, the ratio analysis with that of the Camels rating, to have a confirmation. So based on the ratio analysis, we have used 4 ratio analysis: profitability, liquidity, solvency, and efficiency. And in the Camels, there are also profitability, liquidity, and solvency ratio. So as we compare those ratios, there is a confirmation. These 2 ratios are different, but we have seen some confirmation in the result. So we can say the ratio analysis in the Camels rating ratio will not contradict from the truth or from the reality, I think. And the third question goes to why Camels other criteria or other frameworks. It is a very great question, but we have seen the financial stability report of the National Bank of Ethiopia, which have made in publication 2 times, and the National Bank of Ethiopia uses the Camels rating for classifying the Ethiopian banks into larger bank, medium-sized, and small-sized banks. So using only ratio analysis will not give the real picture of those banks' financial performance. So we use the Camels rating because the National Bank of Ethiopia used the Camels rating framework. For the further study, we will incorporate those other frameworks. Thank you.
Thank you once again. So to answer the first question, Mr. Tarakai, thank you. That's a very constructive question, but I have tried to answer the question, but due to the time constraint, time is one resource. The resource is scarce. There is a resource scarcity. So because of time scarcity, that's why I was making it a rush, but I have mentioned my methodology to give a quick wrap. I have used descriptive research design with a descriptive aspect, and also I have used all the 24 population of the organization, staffs only, non-management and management. So I collected the data by gathering through a questionnaire from primary data and also referring their memorandum of association, memorandum of establishment, articles, and meeting minutes. So to analyze this data I have collected, I used a descriptive statistic approach. So when I get back, I think it's answer, right? Thank you. So when I get back to the second question, sir, so what lessons can be drawn to other organizations? Before I answer this question, what actions are taken in this organization should be answered, in my opinion. So once after I investigated this study, I have mentioned before I'm already supporting that organization as a digital fundraising department, overall fundraising, mainly focusing on the digital area. So we have conducted this study, and based on these findings, I organized my own department called fundraising department, which belongs to my responsibility. So we follow strategic leadership. We have created 5 years strategy. We have developing one website was one part of that milestone. It was one part of that mission. So we do have a mission. We had to have a vision to reach a certain number of donors after 5 years. So we are following different mechanisms to reach that thing. We are applying strategies. So we are applying with this organization. By referring this, I'm engagement with TASFA Charity Association around Atanatara. We are also taking their fundraising system. It's been 10 years since they have established. So we are going to duplicate this strategy to their organization. So it's getting very much useful. As a person who conducts this study, I'm using for my career development also. I'm now a fundraising professional beside to my marketing and management profession. So we are taking this sample for other questions also. And does it support the organization? Definitely it does. And it's also supporting other organizations as a reference framework. Is it answered? Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, thank you all for the great questions raised, and your participation really made this session interactive. And great thanks to our researchers for this insightful answers, and great thanks to our rapporteur. He was like writing nonstop, so great thanks to him too. All right, have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you to all our presenters for enlightening us with their research. I personally believe that often great ideas come with a full stomach, and I see that we are all in a rush. We've had a wonderful morning session, so let us take a lunch break to recharge, enjoy your meals, continue with your great conversations, and we will be back here in an hour. Thank you.
Welcome back to the afternoon session of the 19th National Student Research Forum. I'm Teodoro Sedana, a fourth-year management student and VP membership at St. Mary University Gabel Club.
Okay, greetings everyone. My name is Hermandam Deslase. I'm a marketing management fourth-year student and a gender club president. I hope you would have a great day, and I will be the rapporteur for this session. Thank you.
And I will be chairing this session. Now, in this session, we will hear 3 insightful research presentations from students at St. Mary University. Each presenter will have 20 minutes at most to present, and will be followed by a 30-minute question and answer discussion. Now, our first presenter is Nathaniel Ayaleo, and his research is titled Every Event Management System. Please welcome him.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are presenting event management system. We are computer science graduate. So our project was event management for Ethiopian, as you know. So we hadn't well prepared, so don't expect much. So the problem was the Ethiopian event management was not much organized, and there's not scalable and not efficient. So our system is to build a system that is event management system based on by area. So anyone can create event and manage their event. Administrator can manage their event.
Nathanael Salomon, presenting his research titled Empowering Financial Inclusion, a Web 3.0 blockchain mobile application for Ethiopia. Please welcome him.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathanael Salomon. I'm from Computer Science Department. This is our project on blockchain and technology. And our title is Empowering Financial Inclusion Web3 for or mobile for Ethiopia. As for instance, we introduced about myself. I'm Nathanael, I call it, and I'm Web3 developer and backend on Node.js. And we're going to start about introduction about we create our own blockchain. What is blockchain? Everyone knows about blockchain? Can you raise hand? Who knows about blockchain or cryptocurrency? No one here? Okay. Blockchain is a decentralized technology, and it is type of emerging technology. What is emerging technology? Emerging is type of technology. There is three industrial revolution: the first, the second, the third, and the fourth. We are now in the third industrial revolution, and we are going entrance of the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution, we call it artificial intelligence, smart city, and many technologies with nanotechnologies, and it is one of type of the fourth industry technology. And in the future, we're going to use digital or cashless society we create, and we call it blockchain technology. Blockchain technology, it supports cryptocurrency. Just it's like a subset. Cryptocurrency is found on blockchain. Blockchain is not found only cryptocurrency. It is just subset, we call it, and it supports Bitcoin, Toncoin, Ethereum. Is the example of type of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is just digital money. We call it digital money or digital coin because it supports cryptocurrency. It offers more secure and transparent and anonymous than centralized system because blockchain is decentralized. Decentralized it means, as you know, Central Bank of Ethiopia has its own server. Tele has its own server. Any company or any web company or any company have server. In blockchain technology, there is no central server because it is decentralized. No one govern or no one control it. It's better for anonymity because no one trace my private data. For example, some government or some intelligence want my data, they can't access it. In blockchain, there is no one can access because our private key or our private information managed by our own blockchain network or it's my own key. Blockchain has its layers. This one is the data. This one has this hash previous block. Hash means, if you know about mathematical, it's complex algorithm. For example, my name is Nathanael. It's convert to just with bit of data. It's encrypt. Encrypt means, for example, encrypt with transport or swap. For example, the word password is high, H and high. Encryption algorithm maybe IH or some transports or some algorithms. But in blockchain is high or just password changes to in convert bits. In 60 or 130, there is type of algorithms using in blockchain. We are using SHA-256 algorithm. It means secure algorithm is one type, and this is the data. Data is two type of data in blockchain. They are public and private data. Public data it means, if for example, if you have a bank account is public, his account is public address, and private data is your credential. Your credential is use username, passwords. They are private data. This is hash or previous block. It refers our just like previous transaction now where in morning or afternoon there's record or traces. We call it as creating a node, create node, like this one, the first transaction, this hash, this previous hash. For example, I have 5 Ethereum. This first block, it's linked it to each other for block 1, block 2, and block 3. We explain about how blockchain is work. Blockchain have there are a lot of nodes and they have its own network. The first one is we gonna request every node to transaction or to access, and every node must access just a public data and our transaction. Our for development purpose using open source Ethereum network, and every node has validates every transaction. For example, I want to send for 5 or 1 Bitcoin or 1 Ethereum. It's a request for every node is every node, and every node has validates every transaction. For example, there are 2 types of blocking: by proof of work and by proof of stake. Proof of work means just by mining we get on, by mining just by power consumption, and proof of stake means by problem solving every mathematical algorithm. This type of algorithm is used on Ethereum, and by mining it's Bitcoin because it's require a lot of electricity and a lot of power supply. And it's a problem for our research. It have a limited access on cryptocurrency and digital finances, and it require a lot of infrastructure with servers for ATMs, any main purpose for in many banks, and it's new, secure, accessible for unbanked individual because there is no in bank. Every data's not there is no privacy sometimes because someone accesses, someone maybe hacked our system, and we paid tax for every transaction for bank, every bank. If I have 100,000 transaction where I send 10,000, I paid for a lot of taxes. And in blockchain technology, there's low fee on every transaction, and this is the main problems of Ethiopia. There is another set of problem. There is inflation because Ethiopia has paid on ports. Any export or import paid on dollars. In cryptocurrency has more wealthy creates, and our objective create a financial inclusive and cashless society. And specific objective create a digital wallet. Digital wallet means just consider us a wallet that handles our money or our credentials, and enables low cost transaction. We did not pay a tax, just only minimum we paid for 1%, or sometimes most of cryptocurrencies like payments.
Thank you for the insightful presentation, Nathanael. Our final presenter in this session is Abel Gezahin with his research, smart calculator-based stock management with supply chain and payment integration. Please welcome Abel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abel. It's a great honor to stand in front of you to present my research in system development project, which is titled Smart Calculator-Based Stock Management System with Supply Chain and Payment Integration. So, as you know, in today's time, that small and micro enterprises are the backbone of our economy. That, like all of us, we use to buy something in micro enterprises, like Shamsu Suq,
for example. And most of these micro and small enterprises use manual system to track their inventories, to manage their sales, and many workers. So when we take the background, this MSMEs is the abbreviation for micro, small, and medium enterprises. And the main challenge we see in these enterprises are manual tracking of stock payments and supply orders. This is many of the these enterprises, small and micro enterprises, uses paper to track their stock levels, to track their payments in the supply orders. So this is the main drawbacks when they use papers to track these things. They cannot get real-time data when they update the stock level, when they sold any product. It is not real-time. So this manual tracking of these things has the main challenge. The second one is inefficiency, missed opportunities, and financial setbacks. This is during their activities, using manual systems takes more time, so they cannot be efficient. And there are many setbacks which are during manual tracking of these stocks. There can be errors. So our main solution is that this project it automates the stock management, the payment system. We use CHAPA, payment gateway, and it optimizes the supply chain for MSMEs, which means these small and micro enterprises don't have need to go to the place where they can get these inventories. Like they can order online using this system. In this manual system, the main challenges were the inventory mismanagement, for example, stock outs or overstocking, which means when they use papers, they track only when they bought the products or the inventories, so they cannot get the real stock levels. So they can run out of stock, or overstocking means they don't know what kind and how many inventories are in the stock, so they can order many products. That leads to overstocking. The other one is payment inefficiency and errors. Payment inefficiency, most of them uses the cash. So we make it that digitalized, and using CHAPA payment gateway, we make it payment system efficient. The third one is lack of real-time data for decision making, which is during updation of the stock out, when they sold out, that the stock will decrease. So they don't track what stock is already in the inventory list. So this is the main drawback. Fourth one is limited access to action reporters. Many of them do not use or make no reports on their sales. So this our system will make sales reports, inventory reports, and gives adequate insights.
thank you so much to our presenters. I feel like they gave us a glimpse of how much hard work is poured into a website that seems so simple for the users such as me. And also, it shows us how gradually tech can solve almost every challenge we have in life. And with that, and also I'd like to thank the chairperson and rapporteur for ensuring the smooth succession of this session. And with that being said, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Matthias Hermendez for closing remarks and to end the forum.
Okay, thank you, Master of Ceremony Solena. Good afternoon. When we start this forum, we were many, but we finish, while we are finishing this forum, we are few, and it is normal and natural. And allow me to conclude this forum. As we come to the conclusion of the 90th National Research Conference, organized by St. Mary's University, we reflect on the incredible journeys we have shared today. This forum has been a remarkable platform dedicated entirely to our undergraduate students with the mission of nurturing the future researchers. We have witnessed a variety of important papers presented, many of which hold the potential to transform into impactful problem-solving projects. It fills us with pride to see our students showcase their research findings, gaining invaluable exposure that will serve them well in their academic journey and professional career. I want to assure you that all presented papers will undergo a rigorous editorial process and will be published as proceedings further contributing to the academic community. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone involved in making this forum a success. To our dedicated paper presenters, our Master of Ceremony, the chairpersons and rapporteurs, thank you all for your hard work and commitment. A special thanks goes to the heads of all departments and the Student Support Service Office for their assistance and cooperation. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge the entire team of the Office of the Vice President for Research and International Relations for their diligence and commitment in bringing this forum to fruition. With that, I officially declare that the 90th National Student Research Forum has been closed. Thank you all for your participation and contributions. We look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you.